Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd and I source cars for people on a professional basis. Although most of the cars I source are between £1,000 and £5,000, very often I've been asked to show something a little bit cheaper on the channel, and so I came up with No Budget Reviews, the series where we look at cars that you can buy in good condition with an MOT for under £1,000 and you can enjoy driving. We don't film this in an expensive manner, we don't use separate microphones, we don't use fluid head tripods, we don't even use a DSLR, but we do have a lot of fun. Why, viewers, if we've had so many of these Vauxhall Astra H's, just got an Opel badge by the way, it is actually a Vauxhall, are we doing another one? Well, this is a very special one. It's a 2006 Astra 2-litre SRI exterior pack 170 is actually what these are called. But this one is not a standard one. It's been modified. The power is closer to about 300 horsepower. Even the VXRs didn't put out that much, and the XP 170 SRI is actually quite a rare model. This engine wasn't made beyond the end of 2006. It was replaced with a 1.6 turbo version of the Family 1 that you find in things like the Corsa DVXR. Good old Family 2 unit, which is distantly related to things like the red top, and actually the Astra H was the last model to use the 2-litre Family 2 engine, which finished production in 2010. The Sport Hatch model was introduced in 2005 and actually lasted a little bit longer than most of the other Astras until about 2010. Have a look at the boot first. It is indeed a turbo. It's got a hybrid turbo on it now. Got about 350 litres of boot space. You can see the camshafts being swapped out and things like that. See underneath here, we've actually got a spare wheel. Some of them don't have them. Oh, we have got a spare wheel. Fantastic. Like spare wheels, viewers. Actually, for a little coupe like this, it's a good size of boot. The lip's a little bit high though, and that's the same on my father-in-law's Astra 1.4, which is a 2010. It's one of the very early cars which I had on the channel. I think it was on the channel during about the first year of starting, and that is something he still had it for over 10 years. So, being over in Cheshire, loads of people have Vauxhalls around here. Lots of people are associated with the plant. He had, I think, a brother who actually worked there at the time, and this was made in Ellesmere Port, so is the one that he has. But that's a little bit less power, 89 horsepower. This is, yes, a bit more. So I have the roof carbon fibre wrapped because the birds kept pooing on it and ruining the lacquer and things like that. VXR mats and VXR dash in this one as well. I'll just close the door, just 1 second. There we go. Chris, who owns this car, has had it for many years, and there's been lots of modifications done to it. You can see we've got some gauges on here with fuel ratio and boost pressure. VXR instrument cluster, and we've got some VXR mats in here as well. There's the sport button here. That actually sharpens the throttle, and if you hold that down entirely it will turn the traction control off, which I will not be doing because, well, I don't really want to go sideways. I had enough of that on the track day that I did earlier this month. So, standard sort of Mark V or Astra H, plenty of these on my channel, actually quite good quality materials. I think these are sort of, in terms of the interior at least, kind of similar really to the Mark V Golfs, which they competed, both in big markets for both in this country and in Germany and other parts of the world too. Door tops, I never really worked out if they're soft or not, but I think they are. Then we've got the electric mirror controls down there, electric windows. Surprised this car doesn't have automatic
lights. I can't remember if it has automatic wipers or not. Certainly the twin top that we had in 2020 had automatic lights and wipers. But unfortunately we've got these dreaded one-touch indicator and wiper stalks, which I absolutely hate. We've got cruise control on there that actually needs enabling. You can actually put cruise control on an Astra H if it doesn't originally have it. It's quite easy to do that in certain cases. And then the heating ventilation controls are a bit of a stretch. They're all the way down there, which isn't the best. And we've got a 6-speed manual. This particular gearbox was also in some Alfa Romeo models because Fiat and General Motors at the time had a technology sharing agreement. It's not the best. There can be problems with this 6-speed manual. So just be wary of that. This one, the second gear, apparently is a little bit worn. So I'd better be careful about that, viewers. So yeah, sport button there that sharpens the throttle, which will do. Heated leather seats, which are an option on the XP170. Lots and lots of revs. No temperature gauge, which is quite annoying. You can actually kind of fiddle around with some of the controls to show you the engine temperature if you really want to. What's more important though, really, is you've got reach and rec adjustment on the steering. And actually, the steering wheels do feel quite nice, whether it's quite a high spec one like this or the lower spec cars. So a sport hatch, you could get a sort of panoramic roof with this. Unfortunately with those, as I've just been discussing with Chris, if you have a panoramic roof on your sport hatch, I think the VXR Arctic, which is one of the very last special editions of the Astra H, had one of those. But if that goes wrong, it just basically ripped the car off, so people don't really want to touch those. Nice big door pockets as well, very big door pockets for all sorts of things you could ever imagine. And, excuse me, there's some little drilled pedals in here, which I think might be standard, I'm not sure. So much of this car has been modified, and we've got the XP170 little insets on there as well. In fact, whilst we're here, we'll take a look at the engine, and then I'm going to have to try to get in the back, because that's what we must do. Particularly as Mr. Manning from the Matty's Cars channel lives quite near here, and he won't let me off if I don't try. So here we are, viewers. Originally this engine would have put out 168 horsepower, but it's now putting out close to 300, and goodness me, hybrid turbos and different injectors and all sorts of things have been done to this, and a VXR engine cover and performance air filter, and goodness knows, going on forever really. We've also got here the coolant reservoir. That's probably been changed, because the one on the Astra H20, we used to have, that went a bit wrong. They're about £12 to actually do. The only problem is that sits right above the ABS pump, which isn't perhaps the best thing. On the 1.4 Family Zero engine, you do have to watch things like timing chain rattles and oil leaks and oil pressure switch problems and things like that. With the Family 1 engine, which is the 1.6 and 1.8, they can have quite big problems if you don't do the cam belt in particular. The cam belt actually tensions the water pump as well, and that needs to be done when you change it, because if you have problems with that tensioner sort of failing, then you can actually blow the head gasket on those. These, the engine won't necessarily cope with more than about 300 horsepower if you tune it like this. You need to not blow it up, in other words. But yeah, you can modify these. There's a very active community for doing that. These are a timing belt engine. I think that's been done at some point. There we go, a little sort of sticker there. And gas strut, which is really sort of neat. Facelift of these occurred in about 2007. This is a pre-facelift one. But the facelift is very, very subtle. It's quite difficult to spot. Actually, the front lights aren't necessarily a reliable indication of whether they've been facelifted or not, because I've seen ones that have been changed over. It's the rear lights really that show. But this one, with all the modifications that have been done, I mean, goodness knows. But yeah, massive, massive alloy wheels. Fortunately, they're not the easiest to sort of have in urban areas, because it's really easy to scuff them, and I think that's next on the list if they're going to be done. But yeah, let's see if we can get in the back and satisfy the curiosity of Mr. Manning from the Matty's Cars channel. Heated leather seats. Excellent, that's what we like to see. Right, I'll just actually close the door whilst I do this. Oh, this is no problem at all. Like, once you're in, it's just fine. It roosts a bit though. But yeah, I mean, I have to do this. There we go. I mean, there's not the most amount of legroom if you do that. It would be better, really, if the driver was a bit shorter, but never mind. Actually got these things down here, which probably stop you tripping over the seatbelt when you get out. Got map pockets. Big cup holder, interestingly, in there as well. Some of them do have an aux input somewhere, I think near where the handbrake is, from memory. This is quite an early Astra H, so I don't think it has one of those. It's got a new radio in here anyway, so it doesn't matter. Then we've got cup holders on the sides, which is good. Leather feels nice, actually. Not got central armrest. Just see if it's actually a 4 or a 5-seater. Yeah, it's a 5-seater. It's got 2 buckles. I can feel those behind me. Yeah, the windows are really small. I think I'd recommend getting something like, you know, some aftermarket sensors around number plate or a reversing camera in the sport hatch, because it is a little bit cramped. We do have some rear lights though, which is good, and some head restraints. But yeah, it's not the biggest rear windows, is it? But you know, these look quite stylish for GTC, which actually succeeded this in 2010, which was the Astra J based one. That looks maybe even better than this. Right, I think we better have a look at that glove box as well, viewers, before we go out for a little spin. I think the emission documents would go in there if I actually had space for them. Big old glove box actually there. And we've got another cup holder and a place to put some coins. Right, viewers, I think it's time for us to go for a little spin.
Well, viewers, this thing just wants to go, like, in a way that I've not experienced in many cars. I mean, I have driven a modified BMW M140i, and that had more power than this. That had about 420 horsepower. But if I rein myself in, I'm sure I'll be fine. We're in a 30 limit. We are going to go on a slightly faster road as well. Actually, the car is a lot better behaved than I thought it was. The suspension's been modified in this, but it doesn't actually seem as firm as I was expecting. I've driven things recently, like the Renault Sport Twingo and the Abarth 595C, and this doesn't seem as bad as those for whatever reason. But I do have to be careful of my right foot, because I don't really want to be answering to the Cheshire Magistrates Court for my exuberant activities. 0 to 60 in this car, standard was maybe 7-8 seconds. Now, who knows? The basic engine in one of these was a 1.4 with 89 horsepower, which is the engine that's in my father-in-law's Astra H, which he's had for like forever. That is a family zero engine. It's the one that actually is used in many Corsas. We used the Corsa till 2019 actually. Another sort of very popular Vauxhall and Opel engine back in the day was the Family 1 engine, which came out in the early 1980s in the Mark 1 Astra. In the Astra H, there were 2 versions of the Family 1, a 1.6 and a 1.8. The 1.6, when it first came out in 2004, generated 113 horsepower. They then added a VVT system with a facelift in 2007, and that generated 113 horsepower. Again, a very, very common engine, and there's loads of people who'll be able to work on those. There was also a turbo version of that engine with 177 horsepower, which came in and actually replaced this 2 litre in sort of early 2007. The 1.8s, the early ones, 123 horsepower, and then I think in 2006 or 7 that was increased to 138 horsepower. That was the engine that was in my Astra twin top that I had in 2020. Which also had a sport button, by the way. Let's see if this sport button actually makes any difference. We're not going to turn the traction control up because it's wet, and I've got like stupid amounts of power. Oh my god! Oh dear! It better turn that off, viewers. That's probably the best thing to do. We'll just leave that alone. Yeah, we'll leave that that button alone, shall we? And then we won't be answering to magistrates and the Crown Court in Chester. So the 2-litre engines, actually this is the old Family 2 engine, but was in a lot of things like the Mark II Cavalier and the Mark III Cavalier. Obviously this has been highly changed since then, this 2-litre. I think the last car to use this 2-litre Family 2, and there were 3 different power outputs for this. There was this 168, although that's when it was standard, it's not now. There was also a 197. For some reason the 197 wasn't available in the sport hatch, that was only available in the 5-door Astras. I don't quite know why. And then there's the VXR, which was 236 horsepower. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. I mean, really, if you're sort of going along at a legal speed on the motorway, just doing 70 here, viewers, honestly, then possibly you thinking about one of those, but not today. We're going along in 6 gear. This is a 6-speed manual, which I think only things like the 1.6 turbo, the 2-litre turbo got. All the other Astras I've ever driven, all the other Astra H's have been 5-speed manuals. You could get an automatic, I think, on the 1.8 and maybe the 1.6. I can't remember actually now. Actually, still relatively well behaved. You can now feel as you're going along in this. The suspension is a little bit on the firm side. It is really sort of showing. It's not so bad in town for some reason. It is a little bit from the firm side. And I wish I had the cruise control working, because it would be fine. But actually, these are quite nice motorway cars. Certainly the twin top I had was. But the twin tops, they do have these issues where if the roof fails, the fundamental roof is a work of art, it's a beautifully designed thing, and they are attractive cars, but if that fails, it's often more value of the car to fix it. Also, these 6-speed gearboxes, they're not known for being the most reliable, so if you're going to buy one of these with 2-litre engines, you make sure that you check that before anything happens. But actually, sort of going along, it feels very sort of civilised, apart from this sort of exhaust at the back, which is making all kinds of whistling noises that I'm sure a lot of you are enjoying hearing. Let's look now at some Astra 8 trim levels. Well, the ones that were most exclusive to the Sport hatch were the GTC, the Sport, although the Sport only had a 1.4 engine, the VXR, the VXR Arctic, that was the one with the panoramic roof, the VXR Nürburgring and VX Racing. I don't know why they introduced so many special editions right at the end that they did. More normal ones are things like the Active, Active Plus, Breeze, Breeze Plus, Club, Design, Elite, Energy, Expression, Life, SRI, obviously with the optional exterior pack, and the SXI. All these cars had at least 6 airbags, and they were built in all sorts of places like Belgium, Brazil, Egypt, Germany, Poland, Russia, Ukraine, and of course here at Ellesmere Port. So viewers, should you consider a Astra H Sport hatch for your hard-earned budget up to £1,000, well, this car's worth considerably more. It's had thousands of pounds spent on it, and so you can't buy one of these for no budget reviews money. But 1.6, 1.8, not maybe the turbos, but even the 1.4s and things like that, yes, you can pick them up for under £1,000. You've got to check these quite carefully, because there are a number of things that can go wrong. But yeah, they are sort of fun. There's an Astra to suit everyone really on the second-hand market, but yeah, just be careful about what you get. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video in the comment below, and we shall see you again soon for some more inexpensive motoring.